Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon. Now, you may be looking at this and saying, "What does this mean? What is with letters? I can't read. I only play Darktide." And you're right, I do. However, I saw Riken XIV. I don't know what that means in Roman numerals. Forgive me. Do it. So I figured I kind of wanted to do. I since I do have my own Darktide wish list, and I figured, you know what, I might as well make a video about it. Maybe others will as well. But I'm essentially stealing it from that guy. So these are all separated into three categories: likely, somewhat likely, and unlikely. Pretty self-explanatory, but just in case, likely is changes that I expect to happen or I think are very much gonna happen. Somewhat likely are changes that potentially could happen, but I'm not betting on it. And then unlikely is I'm pretty sure not happening. So first things first, I'm gonna do it one at a time. So we'll do likely, somewhat, then unlikely, and we'll go down the list. Most of these are going to sit in somewhat likely, and if I think of something like in the middle of the video, since this isn't exactly scripted, I just have some notes I wrote down. Uh, I'll put some on there, but for now we'll just do likely. First one for likely is going to be more. Oh, let me change the color. We'll do black, yeah. More weapon variety slash class specific weapons. So what that means is essentially like obviously more weapon variety just means more weapons, and then more class specific weapons in the similar way of like, for example, the flamer is specific to the zealot, the eviscerator, then for the veteran you have the plasma gun and the hellbore variants, and then for the Psyker, obviously you have the staffs and the four swords, and for the Ogren, you have every single weapon in the game, or that belongs to the Ogren. Obviously, more weapons and class-specific weapons are gonna come. Yeah, but I do want to see them, so I want them. For the next thing we are looking at here, for the somewhat likely thing that I expect to happen, or would like to happen, I should say, more slash better emotes. The emotes we have right now aren't exactly great, and you can only do them in the lobby, and the camera doesn't even move properly. So hopefully we can get some more emotes, but we can use both in the lobby and in a match, and maybe the camera will actually go to a freeze, sort of in the same way that when you inspect yourself in Vermintide, how you can somewhat control the camera. A somewhat variant like that would be better. And yeah, so now into our first unlikely addition to the game that I'd like. Oh my goodness, I'm forgetting to breathe here, talking too much. Copy player build. This is exactly. This might be a little vague, so I'll explain it. Essentially, if someone else is playing Ogren and they see Bog and they're like, "Oh, I want to copy whatever Bog's build is. That seems really strong." Essentially, it creates a new loadout slot for them, and it'll fill out the talent tree that they had. And if you have, the weapons, even if it's not the blessings, if you have the weapons, they'll fill out. So if I'm using the Rumbler, the Mach 3 Bolt Cleaver, and then my talents is essentially just, taunt, feel no pain, etc., another player will essentially be able to copy that build and save it as a loadout for themselves if they wanted to try it around or try to improve it. I think that's unlikely because I don't think Fat Shark really thinks that's a necessary thing, and I don't even think it's a necessary thing, but I would like it. It'd be cool. Now, for the... there's only two likelies here, by the way. I couldn't think of anything that I expected likely to happen that wasn't, like, essentially asking for more maps and more monstrosities. So the last one here for the likely is Milk Rework. I think a lot of people don't like Milk. It's a bit of a pain in the butt having to go back every week to get your new dailies for some mediocre rewards. And for the Milk rework, I expect to come along with like curio, maybe a curio change, how you can obtain those and stuff. And that's pretty much what I think will happen for the Milk rework when that does happen. Now for the somewhat likely, the next tier end here, we have improved meat grinder. You can see how slow I typed this video. Pretty self-explanatory. The meat grinder is kind of shit, to put it bluntly. I think an improved meat grinder would essentially be like having enemies be able to attack you, having like certain like modifiers happen, so you can see like, oh, how do I avoid these enemies in, like, I don't know, the fog or in lights out or something, or how do I what's the weak, or being able to just even damage a monstrosity. First of all, being able to like properly learn the weak zones on like a plague ogre, and what counts as its head versus its shoulder versus its arm, stuff like that. And this is good for like the people that get into the numbers of the game, like I don't personally get into the numbers, but I would like the improved meat grinder so I can actually do some stuff with it. But yeah, I mean, I think it just needs to happen. Now for the next unlikely, let me in the partner program. Let me in, Fat Shark. I want to be in there. 1 second. Sorry for the pause. The dog wanted to be let out. But yeah, let me in the partner program, Fat Shark. Please, I'm begging you. Now for our next somewhat likely, we have more raid style missions. Whoops. Style missions. AKA more Karnak twins. AKA Karnak twins. I mean, the Karnak Twins event was really fun, and I hope we get more missions like that. Pretty simple. Now, for the somewhat related to this idea that I had, since you can get specific rewards for doing Karnak Twins, customizable bunk / trophy room. That one's pretty self-explanatory, just like having your own room where essentially you can get trophies and trinkets and stuff, and you can put it all on like a shelf or something. I don't know. This is unlikely, but it'd be cool to like have penance-based rewards for like customizable stuff like wall hangings, stuff like that. It'd be cool. I think it'd be fun. But you don't really need it, but it'd just be a little more interactive rather than just going in the lobby all the time. Now we have, for the somewhat likely, more hairstyles and tattoos. Whoops. Pretty self-explanatory. More customization options. They're always fun. Yeah. I mean, I think there's like 2 good hairstyles for female characters, maybe 3. It's just a lot of the hairstyles just suck. I'm gonna be real. So hopefully we get some better ones, and more tattoos is always fun. Although you don't really see them unless you go on specific stuff, but whatever. It's the thought that counts. Now for our next unlikely, somewhat related to this, it is more face shapes. Whoops. And body types. A lot of the face shapes are just ugly to be ugly, and I'm fine with not every character has to be pretty, but there's like 2, maybe 3 faces that don't look like they've been hit with a wrench 24 times. It'd just be nice to have more options. And as for body types, I just mean like more like buffer, just buffer variants, or even like female version of the Ogren, but honestly that's not really important. But just more like, let me play a buff zealot, just stuff like that. I don't think it'll happen, but it'd be cool. And also fix the models for the cosmetics, but it is what it is. For our next somewhat likely, I believe this would be a good thing, but I'm not hedging my bets. Rework, early game / leveling / faster leveling. The game is very slow in the early game. It quite sucks, actually. Yeah, it takes forever to get to the good time, and then by the time there, all your early game stuff is completely useless once you get to level 30. So you're just going to be at level 30, a bit weaker than normal, until you can finally get a bunch of materials and stuff from playing the game. And it's just, the early game isn't fun. I'm going to be real. Sedation, snooze fest. Let me get out of there faster. You know? Like, you know? Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. And now for the another unlikely, we have more skill trees. More skill trees, maybe even like you can make, or you know, we'll do slash class types. More skill trees, class types. You know, like a tech adept class would be fun, or like a I don't know, something or other. Just, you know, stuff like that. Just more like playability in the game for different like classes, different play styles. You know, all that fun stuff. Now for our last, somewhat likely that I have in my notes, we have reworked Grimmies / Scrippies. Rework Grims. I'll just do Rework Grims for now. / script. Damn it. / script. Alright, whatever. Actually, I'll just take out the ed. Rework Grim / script. Scriptures, I think, are okay. You don't really need to rework them, but it's very likely, I think, that they'll rework the Grims, and I put somewhat likely in the together because they might rework scripts along the way. I mean, recently with the quote-unquote drama about it, the Grims aren't in the best position, so it'd be good to rework them. Now that's the end of my notes. See if I can think of anything that'll happen that's likely. No, not particularly. I mean, it's a pretty basic list. It's not too long, but it is stuff I would like to see. And yeah, because I mean, there's probably a bunch of things that I said that got covered in someone else's video, and like, you know, so you probably are heard it before. But this is what I'd like. Some of the stuff I'd like. You know, I know that some people are like, oh, can we get a higher tier weapon? That'd be fun. You know, I'm here for that. But yeah, if you made it this far in the video, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, or don't. I am not your mother. And let me know what you want to have in the comments down below. Now have a good one. Bye-bye.